today we're going to be unboxing Trench Club. And this is a Great World War skirmish style game between the four major powers of that particular conflict. But you can actually play this solo as well as 2, 3, or 4 players. And it's actually fortuitous that we're unboxing this now. This was on Kickstarter a couple of years ago and just came out in 2021. But right now, the same people are actually doing a legacy version of this game, which is on Kickstarter right now. So check out this unboxing with us, and if you like what you see, you can go pick this up on their main website or other retailers, and then go check out the Kickstarter and maybe back the legacy game. So let's go to the table and see what's in this particular box.
All right, here we have Trench Club. And on the back here we have kind of nice illustration of all the components in the game, potentially. So if we open this up, do this, the shrink is kind of split here. And right away we are hit with a punch board. And it is printed, for the most part, on both sides. All these units are printed on both sides, and all these kind of flags. These numbered tokens here only that are numbered 1 through 12 are only printed on one side. Yeah, we have these mine symbols, so if we punch out a few of these, just get a feel for these. Yeah, and these are perfectly usable, not too thick, not too thin, cardboard tokens. Punch out quite nicely, cleanly, no need to clean these up. I'll give one more look and see all the different units here. All right, and then we are hit with a big game board. So we're gonna have to move some of this other stuff out of the way. All right, let's move this coffee here too. Looks like, yeah, this board is double-sided. So, let's see if we can get the whole thing in frame here. Close to it, like right where my hands are. Yeah, these are the edge of the board here, and then right where my hands are here, kind of the edge of the board. And so we're very close to getting the whole thing in frame. And you can see it is a hex grid board, and you have these little, rivers or streams, like a lake, trees, grassland, farms. And it looks like these are bunkers of some type here. So that's one side of the board. On the other side of the board, we have, not only is it aesthetically different with this kind of like snowscape, the actual board is quite different as well. You see all these rivers converge into this island in the center, and again you have bunkers, but it is an entirely different map. I can't see quite as well there, but there you go. So you do get 2 maps on this board. Really nice, actually. I really like the artwork on this board, to be honest with you. So that'll be fun. Put that aside. Bring the essentials back in here. And then bring this back over. Next, we are hit with, we'll get to this in a second. We'll actually got some rules here, and it looks like we have German rules. Don't speak the German, don't read the German. So here we have English rules. We'll fare better with those, I think, on this channel. Okay, so we have the game, the units, the rules, summary. Turn phase. Detailed rules. And a whole bunch of examples of, looks like examples of movement and line of sight and those types of things here. And more of the same with a bunch of rules about attacking. And more about attacking maybe in monetary transactions, end of the turn, miscellaneous. Overview of troops and trivia. Well, that's kind of cool. and then rule variations on the back here. And that puts the rule book at only 15 pages with a lot of illustrations. So I don't know if it's well written, well laid out, but it shouldn't be that bad to get through this, to be honest with you. Next, we are hit with what looks like some player boards and player aids in shrink. If I can get this open, stand by. Oh, there we go. I found it. I found the edge. Okay. So it looks like we have 4 player boards that are double-sided. Let's see if these are different or the same. There's so much information, it's hard to be sure. Hard to be sure with this. 13. Yeah. Can't quite tell. Quickly, at least. But you do get these 4 player aids for the 4 different powers. And it looks like all of the units, or almost all the units on the boards are the same, except that you do have a power-specific unit in the lower right-hand corner. So there's some variable player powers on these things. They are not thick cardboard. You can bend them like this. But I think it's really supposed to be a unit player aid rather than player board that you place things on. So these should be fine. And they're just papery. They're made of some kind of they're not laminated, but they are kind of texturized, heavy paper material. So no problems there, no complaints. And then we have a quick reference to the rules. It looks like troop movements, unit movements, combat, game phases here, and then you have a German version on the back, which is quite nice. But yeah, quick reference for the game for all players.
I am so glad that Trench Club exists for a number of reasons, but one big reason is the theme itself, the Great World War era, because there are so many World War II era games, which are great for the most part, but that's kind of a flooded space. And we have United States Civil War games, and we have American Revolutionary War, American War for Independence, aka United States War for Independence, or the War of Colonial Aggression or Rebellion or Secession for our good friends across the pond. But there aren't very many great World War games. At least not in the skirmish dudes on a map style game. There are many, war game simulations, but this is really cool to have dudes on a map fans who can't really get into war game simulation type stuff yet have a chance to experience Great World War theme. And I think it's really important to call it the Great World War rather than World War I, because yes, in hindsight, it was World War I, but when you're thinking about the crossroads of history, it was the Great World War. So saying World War I is kind of anachronistic, and I'm a history nerd, and so you know that little thing about me and my little pet peeve there. So, soapbox over, let's get back to the unboxing.
Here, we are hit with, again, trying to get this out of the plastic. Oh, there it is. Oh, struggling with this today. As my cat scampers across the house. Okay. So, again, you have German side. And then this looks like a flank attack and surround. Okay, so this is some sort of special combat rules, battle boards type thing for flanking and surrounding. I'm sure we'll get into what all of that means in the rules once we read the rules. And then here, it looks like we have looks like we have kind of combat cards for each of the different units. So yeah, and we have it in English and German. And I'm not sure exactly what these are for because we have those player boards. I'm going to guess, I could be completely wrong, I'm going to guess they give you these cards, and I'll flip through them real quick, to be able to lay out if you have a combat engagement, you can put down the cards that are in that particular combat. I don't know, like that's the only thing I can think of, but who's to say? Could be completely wrong on that, but I'll just cycle through these real quick. There we go, we're back to airship. So you have these cards, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them. Next, we have dice. We have a whole bunch of 12-sided dice. We have 12-sided green dice. And yes, they are standard 1d12s. Then we also have a second set for a second player of gray 1d12 dice, and again you get 12 of them. And then here it looks like we have 3 orange 1d12 dice. So tons of dice, which is really cool. If you ever need 12-sided dice, this is the game for you. And then we have a whole bunch of units here. And I'm just going to pull everything out here now. We have what looks like, I was going to say it looked like a deck of cards, but I think this is money, resource of some type. And then we have this other thing here. And if I lift up this, you actually have, it's a little bit flimsy, but it doesn't really need to be sturdier. You have this storage solution, which seems to work quite well. And so I'm going to put this to the side. And because this looks like money or the war bonds, I'm just going to open up this real quick, and then we'll get into the units. So, yeah, show me the money.
I don't have much of a costume today. This is really the closest thing I could find to any sort of military uniform or camouflage, which is, well, it is. The only time I wore any kind of military uniform or camouflage as a costume was in an avant-garde production of Midsummer Night's Dream, probably 20 years ago. I was Oberon, wearing camo, having to do push-ups for the entire intermission on stage. My director was that person.
It is printed only on one side, which is a shame, I have to say. But what are you gonna do? Okay. So it looks like we have money or war bonds, some sort of resource in units of 10. We have this cool tank, stylized tank here. And then we have in the units of domination of 5 with a mortar or howitzer or a railgun on there. And then we have, of course, units of 1, which will be the infantry right there. And these are nice. I really, so many games now don't print paper money. I know I think these are war bonds, not money, but essentially the same thing for the purposes of the game. So many games now make you track it on a piece of paper or an app or use chips or tokens, which are also nice, but having the paper money is really fun. Somehow it makes it feel more authentic. It helps with the immersion. And the quality of these is good. This is not Monopoly money. It's got some sheen to it. So I definitely would not dump these in your bathtub, but, and they are square cornered, so be careful about dog-earing and rumpling the corners because they're square-eared, but these will stand up to a little bit of wear and tear.
For those of you who believed that thing about me doing push-ups for an entire intermission on stage back in high school, you're my people. It's not true. It seems like a real fact, maybe. It's not. But the rest of it is true. The whole avant-garde and the camouflage and the Oberon and, yeah.
So now let's get into the units. Starting with this tank unit. And you see these little prongs here, which we'll get to come back to. So we have the tank and the airplane, very nice. And we have, I don't know if that's actually a unit of some type or just an extra thing. We'll find out. Then we have like a howitzer. And infantry. And some kind of truck. And let's see, more of these things. So these are clearly something, ammo dumps or some other type of thing. And we have another tank. And looks like an armed car of some type. And a mortar. Looks like another howitzer. Some cavalry. Some heavy infantry. Looks like a transport truck. And this only has one prong here. And another one of these things. So here's the cool thing. Here's one of the main thing about this game is you have this bag of beads, essentially, basically what they are. And what you do is when your units experience combat, I think, when they take damage or when they take experience in combat, you put various beads onto these pegs. And the different colors mean different things, my understanding. I'm not doing this very well because I'm trying to get it on camera and my dexterity is not cooperating right now. But you get these pegs and they indicate, I think, damage and experience. Again, on the rules. But then when you have a unit on the field, you can just visually tell immediately how much damage it has, and then based on his experience, whether it's a rookie or a veteran or a war hero, how that changes, increases, or its abilities in the field. And if you have war heroes that are just, in fight after fight after fight, and continue to survive, they're heroes, right? I mean, it's not what makes a hero, but you get the idea. And then if one of your veteran units gets killed, might seem like more of a personal loss. Every loss is a horrible loss in war, right? But it's a game. And so that's really what makes Trench Club, is my understanding. We'll see how it plays eventually. So that's kind of the purpose of those pegs and these beads. All right, so let's clean all these up. And if we get into, you see some of these basic units here. I won't show each one individually. At this point, that would be a little tedious, but you can see how they do have different sculpts, right? Like this. You could absolutely paint these or wash these. Right. Again, you can see some of the different sculpts there in the tanks down where my thumb is. You can see different sculpt for this airplane. I'm not sure why this airplane doesn't have pegs. Have to figure that out. Hopefully that's not a production problem. And these plastic units, they're a little bit light. They're kind of lighter plastic. I wish they'd been made out of something a little bit heavier, but they will do just fine. And we have this kind of boxy tank right here. Yeah, this sculpt is absolutely crazy. Look at that. It's massive, massive gun. So there you have it. That is everything that comes in the base game of Trench Club.
So, not really know where to go from here. We've talked a little bit about theater, we've talked about my love of history and some fun historical facts, or really my hang-ups about what to call the Great World War, call it that. And we've talked about Kickstarters and legacy games, and all of this doesn't really tie together, and I'm not really sure anyone understands what's going on, much like the soldiers and the leaders during the Great World War conflict didn't really understand what was going on or why anyone was fighting. So that's my thematic tie-in for this video. It makes absolutely no sense, but I do hope you enjoyed the actual unboxing of Trench Club. Do check out the Legacy Kickstarter. It looks amazing. Check out this game. There's also kind of a deluxe version of this game where you get more minis and you actually get plastic bunkers as well, rather than them just being on the board. And you can get either one of those versions of the game. Did I just say virgins? Versions of the game on the publisher's website. So, please do like, subscribe, leave a comment, share Corax and Coffee stuff with your friends, and we hope to see you at the table soon.